YouTube, what is good? It's your man Riv from Doing Film Things. We're gonna do this video in one take because my battery's dying and I'm trying to get this out. So today we're gonna be talking about medium format cameras and which one's right for you, especially if you're a beginner. I think the most important thing about here is your price and also your intended use for the camera. So today we're gonna look at 3 different camera types and they're gonna range in prices, but the maximum ceiling here is gonna be 500 bucks US for any of these cameras. So it's gonna be on you to kind of go on eBay and do some research if you're looking to buy one of these, but I'm gonna commit to giving you nothing that's more expensive than 500 bucks. So to start, we're gonna talk about this camera right here. This is a Agfa Isolette 3. You don't have to get this exact camera, this exact brand, but this is a folding medium format camera. And these are fantastic because A, they're tiny, B, they fold, which means extremely portable, they fit in a pocket, and C, they're a medium format camera. So they do everything you would expect from a medium format camera in terms of producing this big negative. This one does square format, which is awesome. And this particular camera has a 4.5 aperture on the lens, but you can get these kind of folding cameras with 3.5. There's even some that are 2.8, which is remarkable. It's really amazing to see the quality of images that you can get with these cameras, specifically because of the lenses, especially when you're doing portraits. This isn't really good for close focusing, but you can focus up to like, I think 3 feet on this camera. And within 3 feet, especially at 4.5, you can get some beautiful bokeh on the medium format style negative. So definitely recommend if you're interested in kind of getting started cheaply and easily, this is definitely the one. And if you're gonna be traveling and kind of going around and just doing some sightseeing and whatever, this is an amazing camera to bring. Again, because of the power of the lens, but also the fact that it's extremely portable. So highly recommend it. And this is beautiful too. Second camera we're gonna talk about is this right here. This particular one is a Rolleiflex 2.8A. It's one of the oldest Rolleiflex models you can find. This here costs about $1,000. So I'm not telling you to get this, but what I am telling you to do is to look for a TLR camera. TLR cameras have 2 lenses. One of them is this one, which is what you see when you look through the viewfinder. And the other one is the one that actually produces an image onto the negative. So this is a great camera to use because of the capability of the lenses, but also it's just beautiful. This is extremely portable. You see it's not very huge and it fits kind of nicely when you wear it around your neck. But yeah, this camera produces your classic 6x6 negative. The lenses can be quite exquisite, and most of the cheaper models that are worth, let's say $200, $300 US, those actually have a 3.5 aperture lens, which again, for portraits, produces beautiful bokeh. And of course, if you're shooting landscapes and stuff like that, where that doesn't really matter, the lenses are gonna do well there as well. So I highly recommend you check these out. The Yashica Matte 124, I believe, is one of the most popular ones, but Yashica makes a bunch of TLRs. Rolleiflex and Rolleicord make a bunch of TLRs. Mamiya makes TLRs. There's a whole massive variety of them on the internet. So definitely go out there and take a look and see which one works for you. But I think the guide is look for one that has a 3.5 aperture lens. That'll instantly put you in the cheaper side of things. And even within that cheaper range, there's so many great cameras. And look at this. This camera is just, it's a timepiece. It's beautiful. This is never going to go out of style because of how interesting it looks and because of how easy it is to use. So you buy one of these, you can definitely assume that you're gonna get decent resale value for your camera. And you're gonna wanna use it, again, because they're fun to use, especially if you're kind of a photographer's photographer, meaning you really appreciate the nuances of analog photography. This is gonna make you do that all the time. There's no light meter in here. You have to do everything manually. You got this crank, you gotta turn. It's just awesome. So highly recommend you check this out if you're diving into medium format photography for the first time. The last camera we're gonna talk about is this big boy right here. So this particular camera is a Bronica ETRS, but Bronica makes a bunch of these modular medium format, basically cases. And I say case because the biggest kind of thing that you see as a camera here is this part in the middle. And that's just kind of the main section where you attach all of the peripherals to. So this camera is modular, so you can get that middle piece, you can mix and match it with different film backs. And of course, you've got a ton of different lenses for this system. This camera is what I would recommend for someone looking to do commercial work. So if you're gonna do commercial photography for portraits or basically for anything, this is good because of all the different ways you could configure it. Whatever your need is as a commercial photographer, I'm assuming you'll be able to make it happen with one of these cameras, whether it's because of the different lens options, because of the different film back options. Also having this grip right here that also has your winder and your shutter is amazing. I love this camera, and this is not very expensive. This camera right here, especially with this lens, will probably cost you about $350, $400 US. It's getting a bit more pricey now because people are catching on as to how good they are, but still very much in reach. There are different formats of this Bronica. For example, there's the Bronica SQ, which shoots a 6x6 square negative. That camera is very similar to this one in terms of the modular aspects and all of that, but it shoots a bigger negative. Therefore, the camera itself is bigger. This is an SLR, so there is a mirror in here that flips and allows you to take your image. Therefore, the camera is not small. But this version, this is the 6x4.5 version. The negative is slightly smaller than a 6x6, but it's still that classic medium format. And the best thing about 6x4.5 is that you get 15 images on a roll of 120. Whereas with these cameras right here that shoot 6x6, you only get 12 images. So, you know, you get more bang for your buck while still getting that medium format aspect. And this camera is just a boss. You know, I used this in the studio a few times and I just feel cool using it. I feel like I'm capable. It gives you confidence. And you know, those things don't matter as much, but they do matter to some degree. You want to feel comfortable. You want to feel excited. You want cameras that make you want to do photography, because the cameras, as beautiful as they are, they're not there to just kind of sit and collect dust. You want cameras to motivate you and to make you want to use them and make photography. So highly recommend this if you're a working professional or if you're looking to really burn through a lot of film and get after it in the studio, for example. You can definitely shoot landscapes and all of that with this too, as I've done. It's very comfortable to do so. But you probably want to use a tripod, especially for your slower exposures, but a whole bunch of lenses to choose from. I have 3 lenses for this camera. This is the 50mm lens, which is roughly a 35 in full frame equivalent. I have a 75, which is roughly 50-ish on a full frame. And then I've got, I think, a 250, which is 100 something on a full frame. And that full kind of range gives me a lot of options when it comes to doing landscape photography. So let's think about it. You have these 3 cameras right here. Which one would I recommend for you? Well, if you're an absolute beginner, but you got swag, I would definitely say go with one of these. If you're an absolute beginner and you don't have any money, go with one of these. And if you're looking to get after and become an Instagram star, definitely get yourself one of these. I hope you see the humor in those comments, but my point is there's a camera for everybody and you don't have to just buy what you see everywhere else. You know, here there's none of those very popular Hasselblad cameras. You don't see a Mamiya 7 in here. You know, those cameras are very expensive and they're great cameras, not knocking them. But if you don't have that money, don't feel like you can't produce amazing quality images. You can produce amazing images with any of these cameras. It's all about how you use it, of course, and the lighting and the scenario and all of the above. But each one of these gives you a different option to do so. So I highly recommend you look at these 3 cameras. I actually use all 3 of these cameras fairly regularly. Recently, I've been using this one a lot, but in the summertime, I was using this one quite a bit. And when I traveled earlier in the year, when I was doing a lot of hiking, I actually brought this with me because, again, extremely portable. And yeah, as long as you have a companion light meter on your phone or you have one of those Sekonic ones or whatever you have, then this works fine. This one does not have a light meter, but you can get a film, not a film. You can get one of these viewfinders that actually has a view, let's pause. You can get a viewfinder for this camera and you can get one that has a meter inside built in that then lets you kind of control everything. So it's great to have that option. All right, y'all, which one of these 3 cameras would you buy? Let me know why you would buy it and let me know kind of if you think the prices are fair for these. Definitely want to talk to you about that in the comments. So that's what we got for this week. I hope this was very useful. I think it was. A lot of people keep asking me about this stuff on Instagram, so I hope that they can see this video and get some really good ideas. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and subscribe. And of course, talk to me in the comments because I want to hear from you. All right, y'all, that's what I got for this week. Peace out.